with her friend Surangee, who I know I saw. And she's going to talk about what they did, the expedition company that they went through, and I guess it was Donna's first international adventure. So, where is Donna? There you are.
Just had to make sure I turned my phone off. Well, my name is Donna Devitt, and I want to thank you all for coming this evening. I'm so excited to share my tour of Mount Blanc with you. I was thrilled to take this trip with my friend Surangee Gunawardena. I'm saying her name probably incorrectly a little bit. This is a trip of a lifetime for me. I've never done an international trip before, so this was my first experience. And I'll have to say that it won't be my last. Europe is absolutely beautiful and very clean, and the people were wonderful. And I'm just going to move on with my presentation for you. So the presentation overview here, I'm just going to be talking about how we prepared for the trip. Our travel from Rochester, then we went to Geneva and on to Chamonix, sightseeing in Chamonix, and then meeting up with our tour group, and basic daily schedule, and then hiking in Tour du Mont Blanc, which you are going to love these amazing pictures. In case you didn't know, Mount Blanc is the highest peak in Europe, so that's one of the reasons a lot of people go there. This is a slide that's going to show you how we started out. We were delayed an hour in Rochester getting out, and then also delayed in Newark. And this is the Newark airport. Yes. Absolutely. Is this better? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so there were delays in Rochester, delays in Newark, and these are all the people that are here. Many flights were canceled due to weather along the coast. We were just panicking. Are we going to get out of here? We need to get on this trip. Finally, at 10:30 in the evening, we got out and we had an overnight flight, arriving in Geneva at 11 a.m. the following day, and then we took a shuttle. We met our shuttle driver, Bert, here at the Jazz Cafe. So I'm so excited to be in on this trip. This is the hotel we stayed at for a few days. We got there a couple days early so we could acclimate to the altitude and to tour around Chamonix when we got there. This is the Hotel Mercure. This is a view. We went into the hotel, checked in, dropped off our bags, and decided we needed to stay on their time schedule. So we went out and looked around, and this is the view of Mount Blanc we could see right from the sidewalk when we walked out. There I am taking in a little leisurely time on our way while we're looking around Chamonix. And of course, we made an early dinner at this wonderful cafe. I just love European style eating. Everything is outdoors in the mountains. Everywhere you looked, I was just in awe the whole time we got there. And you cannot pass up gelato, so first day we had to have gelato after dinner. Not that we were still hungry, of course. But now it's time to rest and before our big day of sightseeing. And this is the view we got from our balcony. So we went down in the morning, got our tea, we came back and we're like, oh my gosh, can you believe this view? So here we are, morning tea with a view. Don't want to go home after this. This is what our breakfast was. This is not your typical Best Western in America. So we had a beautiful display of foods here. All of your cheeses and cured meats, breads and muffins. Show you here. Okay, which carb do I start with? and you want to just load up, but it's like you're so full from everything. Then we move on to the homemade yogurt and all of the toppings, and I just love those figs that were there, the whole figs, and we picked up a few things to put in our pack for the day. And there's all the fresh fruits. The day before, we had checked out what was in town for the sightseeing, and we decided that we would purchase a 2-day pass so we could get the most bang for our buck while we were in town. So we decided to do the Aiguille du Midi cable car ride, which takes about 4 hours to get on the cable car ride and then go up to the top. And then there's other things we did up there, and some things we did when we came back, and some things the next day. But I'll move on to the pictures so you can see what we did. So this is the cable car ride we're going to take, that's going to take us to Aiguille du Midi, and we're going to see amazing views of Mount Blanc. So here's another view. This is a little bit scary, you know, when you go in there, it's kind of wobbling. And I wanted you to hear a little bit of what it sounds like. I think you'll be able to hear it. A little bit of creaking and swaying, and the wind is there, but it was just beautiful. So once we got used to it, we were okay. This just shows you a layout of how the cable car went along and what we were seeing along the way. All of these different peaks. And Mount Blanc is kind of in the middle there, the highest one, and just amazing views from our cable car ride. And Surangee and I decided that when we got done with this cable car ride, this is what we're going to do. So, but I'll show you pictures of that afterwards. This is another site from above. All of these tents, ADK people are interested in winter mountaineering, some people. And then these hikers down below, that's their tents, and they are hiking up Mount Blanc. But we were lucky. We got to stay in boutique-style hotels and had lots of great food. Another view from the cable car ride, just stunning views of the mountains. I'm going to say stunning a lot, sorry. And this is a new experience for us. This is try the unique experience of the step into the void. And this is what we did. This is not for the weak of heart, and it is a 3,000-meter vacuum-sealed, 5-sided glazed-in glass that you stand on. You can see we are wearing slippers. That has a dual purpose. So when you're in there, they don't want you to scratch the glass. But I also feel that it's for when, if anything happened, that the glass would break, you feel at least comfortably with your slippers on. But you would drop 32,000 feet, or 3,200 feet below here. So this is what it looked like from an area where you could view 360 degrees of the mountains from Switzerland, France, and Italy. Oh, I gotta back up a second and show you something here. This right here, this is what we were standing on. Over this is what we would go down if it ever broke, just so you know. After we finished with this is like a 4-hour time up there at the top. We came down and we got to go to a 4D immersion cinema, which is a movie. If you've ever been to Disney, I'm going to take you back to when my kids were little. We went to see A Bug's Life at Disney, and you know what I'm talking about. They have you sit in these chairs and you'll feel bugs on you, you'll feel water, it'll move your chair. Well, this is just like that, but it's a golden eagle that's taking you on a tour that is being chased by predators in this movie, but water's blowing in your face and the wind is blowing and you're getting shaken all over, so it was quite an adventure. Of course, we have to have dinner and have it European style in this very Victorian-looking restaurant. And while we're in France, we had to have some fondue and sausages. So here we are enjoying our dinner. The next day, we met up with our tour group and we did a guided tour of Chamonix, and then we would have some free time. So I'm going to just kind of go through some of these beautiful views of the streets of Chamonix. Everywhere you look, walking along the streets, you can see the mountain views and these really quaint stores and shops along the way. There is a river that runs through the village of Chamonix, and it is glacier fed, and it goes underneath all of these bridges. You can see all the beautiful flowers everywhere. Just really nice. I love all those flower boxes along the buildings and along the bridges. This is the historic clock that's in the middle of the village, and anytime we got lost, you would always say, well, go to the church and then look at the map and then figure out where you have to go. So this was our big marker to know where the church was. These are two men that summited Mount Blanc in the 1800s, and they are known to be the first people that were guides to Mount Blanc. And there was this guide school that is in Chamonix, so that's where they train people to become guides, and it's quite an extensive training. They did show us around in that building, so it was quite interesting. One thing I will say, I wish that I knew French, because I don't know what anything says here. I do know about the bottom there, it says guides. So. Okay, thank you. So now we have some free time before dinner. We did our quick little visit in Chamonix, and so we decided to use the rest of our ticket. We had a 2-day ticket to go, and so we're going now to see Mere Glace, which is a glacier that has the tunnel inside. So here we are taking this train. There's the train station. Here we are on the train, and this is a view from inside the train if you look out the window. Once we get to the destination, we have to take another cable car ride down, and then you can see what the glacier tunnel looks like from the outside. Once you get there, though, we still have to go down all of these steps, but I just thought that this dog was so lucky to have a wonderful owner that took them on this beautiful view. Inside the tunnel, this is a structure that they have built in there, all kinds of like palace walls and windows and chairs. I'm in the queen chair here, and there we are in the tunnel opening. We're coming out or going in, whichever the case, but the beautiful view of the glacier reflection in here. We just really enjoyed that time. You can see that I'm sitting on a little bit of a mat. It was wet. This is when you're sitting there, and really cold, but you gotta do it for a photo. We still had a little bit of time, and so we were like, okay, quick, if we run, we can go do the La Brevent, which is another cable car ride up to see the views of the village of Chamonix, and also to see more mountain views. So we can get up there, and then, like the Adirondacks, the weather can change quickly. So the weather got so bad that they had to shut down the cable car. So now we're stuck here at the top, and we have to be back to dinner by 6. So it is now going on 3:30. We have a choice. Do we wait for it to reopen, or do we go down this path? Do you see over on the right? It's very steep. We decided to wait. Luckily, the weather changed back and they were able to get us down. So now I'm going to take you into the trekking. I know I haven't even taken you on the trip yet. So we have 9 days of hiking. It totals 107 miles. Everything in Europe is done by meters. I don't do it. I'm like, this is not right. It used to be in miles for me. But now we're starting on our tour of France, Italy, and Switzerland. The type of tour that we did is a counterclockwise tour. We start in Chamonix and we'll end in Chamonix. So you can see here, we start in Chamonix, we're going to come down through France, go to La Contamines, over here, up to La Courmayeur in Italy, up around to La Folie and Champax in Switzerland, and back down to Chamonix. So in 9 days, we're going to do that 107-mile trek. Aren't we anxious to do that? Okay, but this is for Reinhardt. I just thought you had to see this. This is not our modern day hiking. So this is Henrietta D'Angelo, who summited Mount Blanc in 1838. I just want to let you know, they didn't know about freeze-dried back then. So this is what she took. She wore men's pantaloons and gaiters, but her own petticoat. She took a compact mirror, not sure why. She had a hat, feather boa, might need that. And cucumber pomade, I found out what that is, I had to look it up. It is hair gel. She took Vans and she wore a flannel shirt next to her skin and double layers of silk socks, nailed waterproof boots. She had veils and gloves to protect her from the sun and wind and cold. Her clothes weighed 14 pounds. This is what she got to take. She took 6 guides and 6 porters. We didn't have that. They carried 2 legs of mutton, 24 cooked chickens, 2 loins of veal, a barrel of wine, and 6 pounds of chocolate up the mountain. And then when they got to the summit, they celebrated with champagne and released a carrier pigeon. So, Reinhardt, I don't think this is how we do it. This is not light backpacking 101 at all. We were lucky though, we did just have to carry a day pack during the day, and we did have someone that shuttled our luggage to the next place where we would be staying, but just thought you'd be amused in 1838 what it was like. June 30th, we're in France, and this is our tour group. There, Surangee and I are the only 2 US people, the rest were 10 Australians. They were so nice, and I think by the end of the trip I might have been talking with a little bit of an Australian accent. It was a foggy day, a little bit misty, but here are Surangee and I starting out along the trail. This is the type of marker that you would see. These are metal signs on poles, and then sometimes you'll see along the way stones with TMB marked on them. TMB is the short version of Tour du Mont Blanc. So along the trail, this is an area that we came to, a small little hamlet. The houses all had slate roofs on them. Very cute and quaint, very simple. These people just lived real simply in an area where there's really not anything. I don't even know how they got groceries and things, but they had their own gardens and things here, just really pretty. This was our very first hostel that we came to, where they will serve beverages and sometimes they'll have snacks or food, but we were excited to go to this first one. These are really like mountain huts, and usually you can see in the bottom right corner there's water trough there. Unlike the Adirondacks, everywhere you go you can get fresh water. You don't have to purify anything, which was really nice. So you just go over, fill up your bottles, and you're all set to go. Another view of the village that we walk through, and here I am. I already found my tiny house where I'm going to come when I get done with this trip, come back, pack my stuff, and move here. So you can come visit me. This is the one I picked out, day 1. This is our first hotel we stayed at on our trekking trip. Now we're still in France. This is a cute church along the way where people pay homage along the trail. It's next to a really beautiful river. This is where it gets serious. This is where it's starting to get hard already. It's like, oh, we're having such a great time, and now it's getting really steep. Another refugio that we stop at. You're going to see a lot of these, which is really nice. They're in the middle of nowhere, but a nice break to get a coffee or something along the way. Just a view of our hiking trail. Okay, this is where we first have snow. So when you are hiking in June and July, sometimes there's still snow there. Our Australian friends were ecstatic because they got to wear micro spikes. Australians don't have snow, so they were so happy. Like, oh, we get to put these on. And it was quite exciting for them. But here we are. You can see our change of clothes too. Now we have hats and gloves and things on because the weather has gotten much cooler. Here we are going over river crossings. There are quite a few different streams of river crossings along the way. Our guide is there. You can always tell him he's always in something bright. I should talk. Whew, here I am with my pink. But anyways, he has a yellow pants on. Just views along the way, hiking up and up. And this is another hotel that we stayed at. Also served us dinner and made our bag lunch for the next day. Nice little balcony where we could come sit out and look at the views. There was this particular place, the people were vegetarian. They had their own farm-to-table garden there, so it was all fresh produce that we got. And I'll show you a picture later of what they served us for lunch, because it was a little bit different, but that's where we stayed. And now we're moving on from France into Italy. Here we are leaving. leaving the cute little area. This is some buildings along the way that are made up with stone, just the architecture and things that are here, just beautiful along the way. And you can see it's in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing here. Where are the roads? There's no roads. I don't know how they survive out here, but they do. More river crossings, a little more fog, but just to give you an idea of the type of trail that we're on. Here's our lunch. There's Surangee enjoying her beautiful baguette. So every day we would have a baguette, and it would have some kind of a cured meat and cheese. This one had dill pickles, which I loved. Then they would give us some kind of a sweet. This is some gorp. This is from the vegetarian place. We got a tomato, and a hard-boiled egg, and an apple. So this is the type of lunch that we would have along the trail. There we are. This area that we came to is old relics from World War II. So it was very interesting and just made you think about the people that had traveled through here. And there's just another shot. It's mind-boggling, you know, the things that happen out in the world. Along the trail, we would see all different features on the mountains. And here are different glaciers that our guide would point out to us. They are up in the top, here and here. And every year, just like in the US, these glaciers are getting smaller every year. So it really is important that we help out with climate change here, because everything is melting and we won't have these forever. This is one of the best refugios I think we came to. When you go to a refugio, they will possibly have accommodations. You can see over on the right where they have bunk beds where people will call ahead to arrange to stay here. And on the left are where people will come and have meals. And you can see out through the glass the beautiful view that we have here. There's a view of the little bar area where they'll make up our coffee, our cappuccinos and espressos, and then on the right will be an area where you can use their restrooms. This is the view that we have while you're drinking our tea. And here we are, drinking our tea. It's just beautiful. It's like, pinch me, am I really here? And this is us leaving the refugio and moving on to these glacier-fed lakes. Our guide was from Italy, so he knew of an area to take us up to see these beautiful lakes that are made from the glaciers. They're just beautiful blue color. When you are in a certain country, the flag that you're in the flag at the top will be the country that you're in. So right now we are in Italy. The next one that we'll go to is Switzerland and then France. More views as we're leaving, and this is the next place where we will stay for a few nights. This is in Italy, Hotel Crampon. And this is what it looks like in the evening before we go to dinner. This is our planning session for the next day. Our guide is the bald-headed gentleman there in the middle. He's showing us the map, showing us how far we're going to be going in meters, and just telling us how much water we need, what time we need to be up. Sometimes we have to meet for a bus or something to get to the trailhead where we would be for the next day, but I think we all look kind of tired here. So now we're going in. This is the day we got to, I'll go back here for a second, Comayor to Asta. They took us for a tour of Asta, which is an old Roman type city. This is the courtyard of a government building in the center of the square. This is a beautiful church and what the street looked like. I just love this view of the Colosseum ruins that are left and just seeing the mountains through the opening there. Just lovely. Lots of rich history here. Another view. These are the catacombs that are down underneath, and then they just built on top of what was already there. This is the gate that let people in from the Roman era over on the left, and then Caesar Augustus, the statue of him in the middle of town. Another view of what the town looked like. All kinds of beautiful shops. They consider Asta similar to Milan, only less expensive. There's lots of great shops here, but a lot less expensive than if you went to Milan. Some of the fresh fruit and things along the way. We don't have anything like this unless you go to that. We don't. Of course, we're in Italy now, so I have to have a beautiful cappuccino, and our guide took us to the best place that made cappuccino, so I had to take a picture of this. And I didn't have any other place that did the heart for me like that. So I just had to have a picture of that. Now we're going on. This is going to be 4th of July, and that's a big time in the USA, but now we're in Italy. So here we are. I was prepared. So we have our lighted hats and our flags, and we are enjoying our breakfast. And our Australian friends were so excited, like, oh, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, you'll have to see. So this is what we came down in, and they were like, well, son, what do you do when you're home for 4th of July? I was like, well, we have picnics and parades and fireworks, and it's a big deal. They're like, oh. So I don't think they celebrate like we do. But because they were from Australia, I had never heard this before. Many of you probably have, but Vegemite. There's this picture of it here on the table, so I had to try it. This is me trying it. No, I'll stick to peanut butter. Vegemite is a very salty spread. It tastes like beef bouillon that's not in water. It's, yeah. But anyways, this is a picture. We wore gaiters on our hiking trip. That is to keep the stones out and the dirt and things off of your boots and out of your socks and your boots. So the Australian people wore these fancy ones. One of the people made them, so they were all fancy on the trip. I do not think these would work in the Adirondacks. They would be muddy. They wouldn't keep the water out.